Yeah, good morning, Lata ma'am.
Good morning, Jagdish. How are you?
Fine, ma'am. Fine, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I think
Very good.
your audio is fine, ma'am. Like maybe we will test it after a few minutes, ma'am, with respect to the
Yeah, sure.
sharing.
Can I make the PowerPoint presentation? The sharing should be enabled for me.
Yes, yes, yes. I will enable you, ma'am. That's the later part. Once we start the
Sure,
session,
no
we will
problem.
enable you.
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
A very good morning and a warm welcome to all the guests, officials, speakers, and participants of the national webinar on cybersecurity for women. ISEA and SSO takes this opportunity to wish everyone a very happy International Women's Day. Information Security Education and Awareness, ISEA, is an initiative by MITI, Government of India, that aims to spread mass awareness on cybersecurity targeted towards students, women, police, and other user segments, with CDAC Hyderabad as coordination agency for National Awareness Program. Takes the privilege of organizing this webinar on the occasion of International Women's Day and welcomes one and all participating in this online webinar. The International Women's Day on 8th of March every year celebrates the efforts and contributions of women across the globe in different walks of life. It helps spread awareness on the need and right of women for equality and safe environment. The UN theme for this year's International Women's Day is Digit All, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. In a way, the theme can also be considered to be aligned with Stay Safe Online campaign launched as part of G20 presidency for this year by MITI with the aim of spreading cybersecurity awareness and promotion of safe online experience for all the netizens alike, especially for women and children. Cyber threats and cybercrime against women in the current digital world pose a challenge for the security of the women. Necessary knowledge about these online threats and possible challenges and information on the ways to effectively handle these dangers is necessary for every woman. Today, the webinar on cybersecurity for women on special occasion aims to impart necessary guidelines on cybersecurity aspects, especially for women. We sincerely hope that the seminar will benefit the women in understanding the subject and gain useful information and security tips. A hearty welcome once again to everyone. Today's schedule for the webinar we'll be starting off with a welcome address and then proceed with the book launch and the address by the dignitaries after the book launch. Later, we will have the expert sessions on the subject of cybercrime against women and digital addiction taken up by expert speakers. Starting off May I now request Srimati P.R. Lakshmi Iswari, Director, CDAC Hyderabad, to kindly deliver the welcome and the theme address.
Thank you, Simi. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
You're audible.
Yeah. So, our dignitaries and delegates of today's event, a very good morning and warm welcome to all of you to this national webinar on cybersecurity for women. So, this is an event planned under G20 Stay Safe online campaign of Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India. First of all, let me wish all women in this particular group a very, very happy Women's Day. I can confidently say that this webinar is an apt event celebrating Women's Day, focusing on various aspects of cyber safety. So as Simi mentioned, today's webinar is planned with very interesting events and expert talks. Today we are honored to have with us Ms. Tulika Pandey, Scientist Z, Cybersecurity Division, Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India. Madam has kindly accepted our invitation to participate in this particular event and deliver the inaugural address in spite of her very busy schedule. So she'll be joining us shortly for this particular event. So one of the important events of this webinar is the release of handbook on women rights against cybercrime. So this is created by Dr. Karnika Seth, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, Managing Partner, Seth Associates. So Madam also will be joining shortly, and we thank her for this wonderful initiative, bringing out this kind of handbook, giving awareness on women rights to against this particular cybercrime. So we have two interesting expert talks, one on cyber crimes against women in digital space by Dr. Lata Subramaniam, Associate Professor, Department of Criminology and Director, Center for Cyber Forensics and Information Security at University of Madras, Chennai. So warm welcome to you, ma'am, and thank you for kindly accepting to deliver this important session on this important occasion.
Thank you, ma'am.
Another session is on digital addiction by Dr. Yatanpal Singh Balhara, Professor of Psychiatry, National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Warm welcome to you, sir, and thank you for kindly accepting to deliver this session on digital addiction, which is relevant to every citizen in today's scenario. So I think we have very good stuff in the next 2 hours time listening to all these people. So once again, a warm welcome to all the delegates and colleagues from CDAC and MIT. So these all in brief about today's event. I hope you all enjoy this particular webinar. Once again, warm welcome to one and all who are attending this event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for welcoming all the guests and the dignitaries. Now proceeding on, we'll have a small shift in the program. We'll start off with the session by Dr. Lata Subramaniam before the book launch. So I now take the privilege of introducing our speaker of the session on cybercrime against women in digital space. Dr.
Ma'am,
Lata?
sorry to disturb you. Tulika ma'am has joined right now.
Okay. So shall we proceed on with the book launch, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, Karnika madam.
Yeah, 1 minute. Ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Sorry, we can just go ahead with the Lata Subramaniam session, and in the middle, like we can go for the book inauguration. Please go ahead.
Okay. I now take the privilege of introducing Dr. Lata Subramaniam. Dr. Lata Subramaniam has more than 4 decades of academic experience in teaching and research areas. Currently, she is the Director, Center for Cyber Forensics and Information Security and Assistant Professor, Department of Criminology, University of Madras. Dr. Lata Subramaniam is the recipient of many prestigious awards like Best Researcher Award by University of Madras in 2015-16 and 16 and 17. Professor S.S. Srivastava Award for the Best Teaching and Research in Criminology in India in 2014, and such many awards have been received by her. She has guided over 45 research projects and holds honorary academic memberships for several prestigious institutes. She has published many books and articles at national and international level. She has delivered many motivational talks and speeches at various colleges and universities. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing the occasion. May I request you to kindly deliver the talk on cybercrimes against women in digital space?
Thank you so much, Lakshmi ma'am. First and foremost, let me thank the Ministry and also IACA for giving this opportunity to deliver a lecture on this special occasion on International Women's Day, and that too on a very important topic which is relevant to the present situation. Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you, Jagadish, and thank you to the director ma'am and everyone present here. So let me also congratulate and also convey my wishes to all the women present here on the International Women's Day. A happy Women's Day. And I also thank all the men present here who are making the women stronger more and more. So thank you for them for supporting the women in the world. So the topic of the presentation today given to me is crimes against women in the cyberspace. Like, I will just share my presentation. I mean, though I will not take much of the presentation, like it is just a guiding one. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Okay. So like crimes against women in cyberspace. So when we talk about crimes, which is generally happening in the world, like we normally categorize into crimes against property, crimes against people, and then like crimes against country. But like in the cyberspace, if we think that these crimes will not be happening, it is definitely a myth. All types of crimes, whichever is happening in the offline space, is also taking place in the online space. So similarly, like any crime against the women in the offline mode is now carried out through the online mode also. In fact, more alarming than what we can expect in the offline mode. On this International Day, actually, I don't want to frighten or create a fear among the women here, but this is just an enlightening speech to know how careful we have to be in the cyberspace, and also to help the men to understand like what is happening against the women in the cyberspace and how they can be a part of eradicating all such crimes in the cyberspace, or at least trying to minimize. See, the eminent sociologist Emily Durkheim, he has said that a society with a crime is not at all possible. A society with a crime is a normal society. That is what he say. If you want to say that a society is a normal one, definitely there should be a crime, and crime is an indicator of development. But to what extent the crime should exist is the question. But in the recent trend, especially after pandemic, the crimes against women in cyberspace is also increasing as equal to the other economic offenses and white collar crimes. So like to start with, I think all of you should be technical people. Still, if somebody has a myth that 100% cyber security is possible in any of the cyberspace you are pondering upon, definitely you can take or remove that thought, because that is certainly a myth. 100% cyber security is not at all possible in the cyberspace or in the social media, because the cybercrime involves two elements. One is technology and the human. The technology is created by the human, and naturally the human will try to break the technology and get into it and try to gain as much as possible personally and economically. So if someone says, for example, if someone says this application is 100% safe, or this application is safer to communicate, definitely it is not. Any application or anything in the digital space is definitely not 100% secured. Once you move on any data to the digital space, be it your laptop, be it your computer, be it your mobile, or be it any smart gadget, you can assume that that data is not going to be mine, and definitely it can be hacked, or it can be taken, or it can be spied by anyone. So if someone says 100% cyber security is possible. Any vendor says it is possible, or any application developer says it is possible, or even any information security professional says it is possible, then I will say that that's a myth. So before entering into the cyberspace, please have it in mind, whatever you do in the cyberspace can be open to all or can be open to anyone at any point of time. So we have to be very careful on what we are dwelling upon in this cyberspace. So coming to the cyber crimes against women in India, the statistics shows a lot of things, like the National Crime Records Bureau, that is the agency that is publishing the crime in India every year. So when you take the account of what is happening in the last few years, I could see that from the year 2017, there is a very drastic increase in the reporting of cyber crimes generally, and very particularly the crimes against women in India in the cyberspace is also increasing. That doesn't mean that the number of cases are increasing alarmingly. Probably the reporting is also actually increasing. But unfortunately, only 1 in 8 cases get deducted, and most of the cases are not even filed with first information report, that is FIR. Okay, so like one of the commissioner in a very popularly known cosmopolitan city said that we are not even actually filing FIR for 1 among the 1,000 cases in the cyber cases which are reported. So that is a situation. So when that is a situation for general crime, 1 in 8 cases of crimes against only is getting deducted, and the core cases are returned back even without FIR. And every fifth cyber crime is the crimes against women in the cyberspace in India. So this is the quite disturbing statistics, but doesn't mean that the crimes are more alarmingly increasing. Maybe the awareness is increasing, the reporting is also increasing, so that may be also a factor, but still we have to take in count the numbers, and we have to believe that we need to be careful and create lot of awareness on how to behave in the cyberspace for both men and women. So when we talk about crimes in cyberspace, we have n number of cases listed, like as I told you, crimes against property, crimes against person, crimes against nation, and in cybercrime we also have crimes against organizations. Okay, so like we recently have OTP frauds, economic frauds, we have lot of other types of economic frauds happening. But when you take the crimes, whichever be the form, be it cybercrime against people, cybercrimes against property, cybercrimes against organization or the nation, most of the time the modus operandi used for committing a criminal in the recent trend, especially after the pandemic, is using the social media as a tool. So the social media platforms are used as a tool to commit cyber crimes in the cyberspace. For example, like any employee working from home. So like his computer is a target, or anything can be, compromised using the social media network. And so is the situation like most of the crimes against women in the cyberspace is actually committed through the social media network. Though the crimes are happening otherwise, but most of the crimes, the modus operandi for a criminal to commit a crime in the cyberspace is social media network or the social media applications. In the world, across the globe, at present, we have more than 700 popularly known social media networks. The problem is where the criminal committed the offense and how the crime is evolving, and how the police have to investigate is the toughest task. So one of the major tip which I want to give as a part of this lecture is, in the case of cyber crime, it is always prevention is better than cure. So we have to, safeguard us. We have to have some preventive methods that we will not be a prey for this particular criminals in the social media. So we have to definitely guard our social media hygiene. In a way, we can say cyber hygiene. In a way, we also can say social media hygiene. So we have to do certain practices to guard ourselves in the social media. So generally, like, of course, I will be describing certain types of crimes here and also will relate it to the law present here in our land. Generally, what are the various types of cyber crimes that can happen in the social media for against women? So like one of the major form which is reported is digital abuse. The second form is like phishing and hacking through the social media and committing some private offenses or offenses against the companies where the women are working. And then like cyberbullying and cyber stalking. In the last 4 or 5 years, the most number of crimes reported against women in the cyberspace are cyber stalking and cyberbullying. Most of the cases are registered under cyber stalking, cyberbullying, and cyber harassment, whereas cyber harassment includes cyberbullying, stalking, and other forms also. Then cyber pornography. Pornography market is a kind of organized crime. A set of organized criminal gangs are operating in the cyberspace, and especially in the pornographic market. Like cyber pornography is not as easy as we think. Researchers like us, we find that pornography is not simple. Like through pornography, people mint money. The organized criminals mint money. You should have heard in the recent days, one of our top financier in the United States, he was arrested by the government. He was the actually a person who was financing a lot of important people, VIPs in the country. And later they found the finance whichever he acquired was through the pornographic market, especially where he was selling the child pornographic pictures and involving child trafficking and other activities. So like the most alarming thing again after pandemic is India is one of the most popular supplier of child pornographic pictures or child content which is not appropriate to be shared with anyone. So India is one of the market to sell and share all such photographs against women or against the children in the pornographic market. So cyber pornography is not as simple as we think. We have to take a lot of cautions about that. So pornography doesn't mean that only knowingly we can get into that. There are a lot of unknown things happening against the women in the cyber pornographic websites. And then like cyber trafficking, that is major alarming crime happening in the cyberspace using social media as a tool. So I'll be explaining what is cyber trafficking and how it happens in the social media. And blackmailing. Blackmailing is one of the common crimes reported through social media. Like you should have heard a lot of cases, even in Tamil Nadu. There was a case called Pollachi case, where around 260 women, girl children or young girls were targeted by, online predators, and they were trying to lure the girl and women through various aspects. And then like later they tried to extract money, jewels, and sexual favors and everything. So like cyber trafficking is another type of crime, major crime, which needs attention in the cyberspace. And then blackmailing, and then chat room crimes. See, chat rooms are common. Every social media application has a chat facility, and the chat room crimes are more common, and that is also going alarmingly throughout the world, actually saying. Even recently in Korea, one of the major a case was hacked where a person was using something similar to called Telegraph, where they were having lot of rooms or chat rooms in which they minted lot of money. Even popular people, they have to pay to enter into the chat room, and in that chat room you'll be having very unique pictures of women and children, sexually abusive pictures. And these VIPs who need to enter into the chat room have to pay huge money. So from the VIPs entering into the chat room, and also by selling this pictures, the people were earning. He was a young boy of 22 years. So like he was earning money like anything. So he was arrested. So like doesn't mean that India will be spared out of such crimes. These crimes are happening but less reported, but a lot of chat room crimes are happening. And then like cyber defamation is one of the common crime against everyone, but particularly women. And the other types of crimes are revenge pornography and identity theft and killing our day-to-day activities by targeting us in the social media, sextortion, sexting. Sexting is not a crime, but due to sexting, women are getting into victims of lot of crimes in the cyberspace. So sexting is one of the major thing which we need to create awareness that to avoid sexting is always better. Then cyber flirting, that is found common in social media space now. And cyberspace, cyber flirting leading to lot of unwed mothers in India. The concept of unwed mother is something prevalent everywhere. And recently, because of the cyber flirting and sexting, lot of unwed mothers are actually, the number of unwed mothers are getting increased, and spamming is very common. Harassment over email spoofing, then indecent representation of women in various forms in social media, name calling, dead naming, doxing, Google bombing, trolling, hate speech, mob attacks, or some of the crimes. I'm not talking about all the crimes. These are some of the forms of crimes that are reported against women in the cyberspace, or at least happening, which are coming to know through our researchers. So to just have a look of a few crimes which are very important and alarming, this is a common example for phishing. Fine. So, digital abuse. This concept is not known for many victims itself. In fact, victims do not know that they are being abused digitally. Normally the various types of crimes occurring offline against women are domestic violence, dowry harassment. So something similar to whatever happened in family or in workplace. So the problem now is, for all the form of such harassment, for the purpose of domestic, harassment, for the purpose of collecting dowry from the women, or for the purpose of harassing a woman at the workplace, the men or even the fellow women, they opt a place where they can abuse a woman very easily. See, previously we used to say that the forms of abuses against women or children are physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, or financial abuse, economical abuse. Now, all those forms of abuses have moved on to the cyberspace and taking a new dimension called digital abuse. In a way, we ourselves do not know that we are actually being a victim or being a prey of such a kind of digital abuse. So what will amount to digital abuse, and what if you can complain to the police if anything happens like this? So what all things actually you have a role to complain to the police? What all will amount to digital abuse? Some of the things are like constant texting, calling, and checking on your location or whom you're with. Many of the people have the habit to call and text and find where you are. So it may be happening with the family members, but for the point of harassing you, for the point of emotionally blackmailing you, or for the point of threatening you and putting you always in the fear, if somebody keeps texting you and calling you and checking on your location and checking with whom you are, then definitely it will amount to digital abuse. And similarly, trying to track you through location monitoring apps. Lot of GPS apps are now available to monitor the location of your partners, your children, etc. So these apps are misused by the abusers. The abusers may be known people or unknown people or anyone. So these apps are abused. And these GPS apps, location monitoring apps, are used to track your whereabouts and corner you again, or emotionally threaten you, and demanding to know passwords. Passwords are secret codes. We are not supposed to share our passwords to anyone. In fact, there's no need for us to share with our husbands, our wives, or our siblings, or our parents, because they are meant to be secret. But unwarranted situation, especially in places like India, we do share our passwords to some known people, especially to our family members. But if somebody pressurizes you to share your password, to know your password, or try to steal your password, then definitely it means to digital abuse. And then going through your phone without your permission, to check your text, to check your photos or videos, to whom you're in with connection. So any form of such activity without your permission, or at times even with your permission, under threaten or under any kind of fear, then definitely it will lead to digital abuse. So many women do not know that these are all leading to digital abuse, and we can complain to the police under various categories of Indian Penal Code, and also Information Technology Act and other social legislations. And then like reading your private social media and email accounts. So email accounts have become now a kind of intellectual property right. I know popular people writing their will where they can say that this email belongs to my mother, this email belongs to my daughter, this email belongs to my office. So after me, only these people have the access. So email accounts are not as simple as we used to have in the previous era. Now, email accounts and your private chats are also intellectual property rights, and nobody can actually demand to read your private social media chats or your email accounts or have a hold on your social media applications. See, one of the greatest demand by the abuser, whoever be in the family or outside, is to know the password of the social media applications you're using and to know the chat, whatever you're doing over the social media. So those things are actually leading to digital abuse, and trying to post you like online and conversing with your friends or colleagues or whatever be, that is also leading to digital abuse. And then spreading rumors, threatening, or any kind of unkind things about us in the online is also categorized as digital abuse. And then like wanting to control our friendship, like like if somebody wants, like, you have to be only friend with this person, you cannot be a friend with that person. See, on a goodwill it is fine, but if anybody is doing it on a threatening or harassing will, then definitely it will lead to digital abuse. So like these are various types of, I mean, whatever I have listed is very few, but many things similar to this will lead to digital abuse, and digital abuse can be actually complained to the police. It will also be categorized in cyber crime, and definitely you have a solace to come out of digital abuse. In fact, during pandemic, many women as a part of the domestic violence, their phones were seized. Their phones were not allowed to be contacted to the parents or anyone, that they can't complain any crime whichever is happening or any victimization whichever is happening in the home. So like seizing your phone, getting hold of your phone, or reading your text, or pushing you to share the text, everything will lead to digital abuse, and definitely we can complain that under cybercrime category. And the next alarming thing which I spoke when I was explaining what are the types of cyber crimes which are happening against women, girl children, and also even boy children are cyber trafficking. Cyber trafficking is one of the alarming thing which is silently happening, even many people not realizing that it is actually happening. See, trafficking is like without the knowledge or with the knowledge of a woman or a girl child or any children, taking them away for the purposes of sex trafficking, for the purpose of putting them in bonded labor, for the purpose of various other illegal activities. And now the problem is all the traffickers who were over the offline have now moved on to the online space. And cyber trafficking, I mean, trafficking is a kind of organized crime, and it involves an organized crime group. And this organized crime group do have a setup. The setup starts from spotter. The spotters will be available normally in the offline trafficking around the schools, around the colleges, and around the public places like parks. In fact, we did a major study in our department in trafficking among women and children and HIV for UNDP. When we went to the various places in Tamil Nadu, it was very shocking that we didn't expect that these are the places from where our children will be trafficked, our women are trafficked. Those are public places where we have gone many times, like temples, churches, or any public places wherever people gather or people do their daily day-to-day activities, the spotters are available. So starting from the spotters till international procurers and suppliers, it is a great market where an organized crime syndicate is actually working. Now, this organized crime syndicate, starting from spotter till the procurer and international trafficker, all of them have moved very leisurely without any expense into the cyberspace, and they are sitting inside to note who are the women who can we traffic, who are the children we can target. So they are sitting in the name of online predators. We call them as online predators. So these online predators use the social media networks and the smart gadgets as one of the greatest tool to target the women and children who are vulnerable, to traffic them and put them into various illegal activities. Some of the most vulnerable networks are definitely our Facebook, our WhatsApp, or dating sites. Dating sites are becoming very common in India now. One should understand the dating site which is used in other countries, especially Western countries, are used only for the purposes In fact, even there, now dating crimes are in increase. But in India, when we have space for everything in every, application, dating sites also are misused in a wider range. Like all these online predators, they sit in dating sites, and then like they move into the gaming side. We every day get lot of cases. Being criminology department, people think that we are equivalent to police, and they will come to us with a lot of cases. Like recently also we handled a case with the help of the police. We cracked the case and we arrested the criminal within 48 hours. And in that case, like one of the girl who was studying 10th standard, she got acquainted with a boy in a gaming site, which is a very popular site. And through that, this fellow started knowing everything of her, like her personal information, her family information, the location of her house, who will be in the house and what time they will be there available, etc. So through social engineering, he gained all the information. And once when the mother was she don't have father, when the mother was out of the home, this fellow came through the terrace, because there are 4 dogs and 8 CCTV, so he can't enter through the gate. So he entered through the terrace, dismantled the CCTV, and then came down and threatened the girl with a edge of knife, asking for the jewels and money kept by her mother. Fortunately, the mother came inside, and then the fellow ran off. And later, this fellow started threatening, blackmailing them using the photos and videos which he gathered at the time of conversation with the girl. Then we have to report to the police, and lot of other scenario happened. And finally, when we got a hold of this particular boy, we found that it was not only one girl. Multiply, he was targeting lot of girls, and not only girls. He is a gay kind of person who was also targeting men. He was having lot of photographs, personal photographs of men, personal videos of men, and he was equally abusing them sexually and also trying to mint money out of that. And you should also know other crimes. When we talk about normal crimes, many of the times the crimes will happen as a blue collar crime. Only few will be happening, like corruption or economic offenses will be happening as a white collar crime. And most of the crimes will be not done by a very highly educated person. Of course, we can't generalize, but most of the common crimes like pickpocketing or anything will not be happening by the educated people. But in the case of cybercrime, there is no difference between education, there is no difference between gender. Even both men and women commit the crime. And then no education is a barrier. A person, this fellow whom we arrested, he was only educated till 2nd standard. Okay. He didn't have proper all the nooks and corners of technology. He used the gaming side. He sat as a predator in the online. He abused the girl for the purpose of money. Unfortunately, the police was able to catch. But this is not the case in every case where the people go and report, and many cases are also going unreported. I can list out n number of cases which we are handling every day. In fact, the criminals are more educated than us in cybercrime. Normally itself, criminals are more ahead of us. We normally say as criminologists, police and criminologists and lawyers and the judiciary system, be it the criminal justice system, we are only discovering what the criminal has actually invented. And in cybercrime, it is more appropriate that they invent more, and we science and technology people, science and technology ministry, police and everyone, we keep inventing what the criminals are doing. So we have to be very cautious in the cyberspace. And one of the other major sites where the cyber traffickers are sitting is e-commerce site targeting women. You might be wondering how criminal can use an e-commerce site. Yes, lot of cases are there. They register as delivery boys, for example, and the popular sites where women can purchase things, they purchase their makeup items, purses, bags and everything. So they sit into that particular, enroll themselves as delivery boys, and they try to know about the women who are ordering that.
Ma'am?
They enter into the home. Yeah.
This is a very interesting and very informative talk, but because of the lack of the time, I think we'll have to try to wrap it up a little early, if you don't mind.
No issues.
Yes,
Can I take another 5 minutes? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So these are the things normally happening in the cyberspace. So what somebody can be undergoing if they are online trafficked, they can undergo sexual exploitation, bonded labor. They can be a bonded labor. They can be made to traffic organs. They may be trained to, traffic narcotics or drugs. They can become a drug mule or money mule. In fact, I have to explain drug mule and money mule, but I don't have time. But I think you can Google on yourself, or we can have an elaborate lecture also. So once online sex trafficking is done, what will happen to the women or the children who are undergone the online trafficking, these are the things like they have to share their photos semi-nude or nude. They are tortured to do rape videos. They are tortured to be present before the webcam sex tourism, like in the case of Thailand. Then they are involved in online advertisement. They are, made to do a lot of cruel videos and simulate real-time sex, etc. So apart from this, what is happening? The most of the crimes are done because of the dangers of strangers. So one of the thing which tip which we have to give is like never actually share any personal information, whether it is stranger or known people in the digital space. I have a lot of cases to explain for that also. So these are some of the code words used by the criminals in the cyberspace, especially to target women and young children. So other things are cyber defamation. Cyber defamation is nothing but derogatory remarks, unverified contents, celebrity targets, and name shaming otherwise. And the most important thing is sexting. So we do sexting with the partners or our friends or boyfriends, but sexting will become a danger in a later point of time, because it can be abused by the technology itself, or an abuser can be sitting on the other end where he can actually use your photos or videos, or your phone can be spied and hacked. We have a number of cases reported that the person with whom you shared the photos and videos are safer enough, but the people in between are not safe. Maybe their friends or the technology is using, or the carelessness in which he downloads lot of spyware. So this is not safe. So sexting is not at all safe. And because of sexting, many girls are now committing suicides. So we have to be very careful. And we also have some alarming websites. You should be knowing about deep nude. We knew deep nude, deep fake, where see, normally we people get into challenges, like in online space, we enter into challenges like Sari challenge, hashtag Sari challenge, or hashtag Dhoti challenge, or hashtag best friend challenge. So what actually happens in the challenges are, these challenges are not initiated by the real people. Most of the time, these challenges are initiated by the organized crime gangs. So when they initiate this hashtag Sari challenge, the problem is we post our photo, hashtag Sari challenge. The criminals do a data mining. They collect the photos of the housewomen or young girls who are new and who was not exposed. They actually upload these photos into the websites like Deep Nude, where the artificial intelligence is used to convert your fully dressed video into fully nude video. So because of this also, I know my own friends who have become victim, and like a lot of suicides and lot of problems in the families are also happening. And cyberbullying, of course, you know what is bullying also. So cyberbullying is one of the major crime happening. So these are some of the forms of cyberbullying, like flaming, harassment, cyber stalking, then denigration. Denigration is dissing someone online, sending or posing cruel gossips about someone, and then like even rejecting you, impersonation, then rejecting you in the online, outing and trickery. When you want to bully someone, you out them from the groups and you make them mentally harassed. So a lot of forms of cyberbullying are there. Exclusion is there. So I leave the PPT for you. Then cyber stalking is mostly reported. Recently also one girl in Delhi, she committed suicide because of the stalking committed by the neighbor for the purpose of just a petty issue between two families. So she committed suicide because of the stalking actually committed. In fact, our movies have told very well how to stalk girls, starting from all of heroes. So like there are a lot of stalkers inside: rejected stalker, resentful stalker, predatory stalker, and intimate stalker. So all these types of stalkers are sitting inside. And as I said, chat room crime, I will leave this PowerPoint with you. Then we have all such types of crimes. So how do we handle these crimes? We do have a lot of legal provisions in our setup. Of course, the initial legal provision which was available was Indian Penal Code, but now we do have a lot of social legislations. Of course, any social legislation cannot be taken separately. We have to think collectively. So we can report under the Indian Penal Code. We can report under a lot of social legislations like Sexual Harassment, Indecent Representation of Women Act, in fact, Juvenile Justice Act also. So we have a lot of such Eve Teasing Act. Then we do have like in Tamil Nadu, we have Eve Teasing Act. So we have a lot of acts, social legislations through which we can report, apart from the Information Technology Act. Of course, Information Technology Acts have certain provisions, and they have amended time to time, and IPC is also amended recently. And apart from that, for the harassments, whichever is happening through our colleagues in the digital space, we can definitely use POSH, Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, as at workplace. So people may think whether it is applicable for online space. Yes, it is also applicable for virtual harassment. Virtual harassment has a definition, and we can actually report through POSH if anything is happening through our colleague also. So I have given like what is online sexual harassment through your colleagues. That is also there. So we can report under Section 2 of POSH Act. A lot of and workplace, if any digital abuse is happening in the workplace, like making you to stay online every time, or posing some awkwardly before a woman in the online. So many things are leading to virtual harassment. So for all the virtual harassment also, you can use the POSH Act. So what if, so I just want to highlight 2-3 points. When it comes to digital evidence, many of us are little fuzzy, like how do we go and show it to the police? And the recent trend is vanishing, like vanishing mode. So if if a criminal, deletes all the messages, or if he uses any app which will vanish the messages, then do we think that it is not possible to complain? It is not so. We can even complain these cases when the messages are deleted. Even deleting your messages wantedly to hide an evidence is also a crime. So there are a lot of case laws supporting that. So even if a criminal deletes all your messages remotely, definitely you can actually go and report to the police. So there's no need to get afraid of the data is not available with us. But the first and foremost thing is like whatever happens against us, we should have the digital evidence protected. We should have the screenshots of whatever be. And the most important thing is we have to definitely go and report to the police. Most of the cases against women, whether generally or online, it is not actually going reported. But I suggest and I earnestly request everyone, if any crime happens, please report to the police. Never actually victimize the victim secondarily or tertiarily by teasing them or by actually shaming them. Never do shaming or labeling or teasing, because every one of us are in the learning process. So this may happen to us or to anyone, any form of economic crimes or crimes against women in cyberspace in personal way, or whatever be may happen to us also when we are learning the technology. So if anything happens to someone, please never tease them, but please go and report to the police and stand with the victim until the case is solved, and insist the police that the case is taken on the priority, because digital evidences can be also damaged easily, though there are methods to recover it. So like these things we have to keep it in mind, and we also need to disseminate a lot of awareness among the young women and young girls, because all of them are using social media, but the social media hygiene is not known to many. So we need to initiate a campaign on social media hygiene and do's and don'ts in the social media, so that this will help them to be safe, because we can't be without social media applications or IT in the coming world. So we can at least create an awareness on cyber hygiene and social media hygiene, and also reporting behavior, and to be a safe citizen in the cyberspace also. So with these few words, of course, with my experience and with the cases whichever we are handling every day, I have a lot to share on every point, but I know that there is a time limit for this event, so we can discuss in in another time, or you can also put me questions to my email. I can definitely reply to that. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for the covering such a major array of aspects related to the cyber crimes against women, and making us aware about the aspects that women need to be taken care of in the current digital world. Thank you once again.
No, please go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was in mute. I was thanking Dr. Lata for her covering such a vast range of topics for cyber crimes against women, and making us aware about the current scenario in the digital crimes. Thank you, ma'am. And before I proceed with the session, I would like to really apologize to Madam Tulika Pandey for making her wait and deviating from the scheduled program because of a slight, inconvenience. So I thank her for cooperating and supporting us, and we'll continue with the program now. I now take the pleasure of introducing Dr. Karnika Seth, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, Managing Partner, Seth Associates. Dr. Karnika Seth is an internationally renowned cyber law expert and is a founder of Seth Associates. Dr. Seth also is the chairperson of Lex Cyberia at Seth Associates, the world's first integrated cyber laws research, forensics, and legal consulting center. Dr. Seth is the appointed country chair for G100 Global Group of Women Leaders, AI, ML, and Cybersecurity Wing. She has advised the Government of India on strengthening the regulatory framework of cyber laws in India and made recommendations for deliberations on UN Convention on Cybercrime and at the India-EU High-Level Roundtable Sci-Fi 2022. On the occasion of celebrating 75 years of India's independence, she was conferred the Platinum Excellence Amrit Award 2022 for excellence in new and future tech laws. Dr. Seth has been consistently ranked by the global business community as top-notch cyber lawyer, an IT expert, and a prolific author, policymaker, and educator. Dr. Seth practices law at Supreme Court of India, Delhi High Court, and other legal forums, and is principal legal advisor to many multinational groups and government entities. She has actively resolved many cybercrime cases in conjunction with law enforcement authorities in India. Her contribution to the growth and development of cyber laws internationally and in India is widely acknowledged in the corporate world and by international organizations. Dr. Seth is an empaneled arbitrator with the World Intellectual Property Organization, Geneva, and admitted as member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, London. May I request you, ma'am, to kindly address the participants on the occasion and give a brief overview of the book, which is shortly going to be released on women's right against cybercrime. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It's indeed a matter of great pride for us to celebrate the International Women's Day today. And it is also, important that we are highlighting this at this forum. MITI and ISCA, CDAC, jointly collaborating to release this book today on rights of women against cyber crimes. I authored this book keeping in mind that we need to understand how women are being targeted by cyber criminals, and what is essential for us at this point is to spread cyber awareness so that they are aware of the technical aspects of cyberspace, the threats which prevail, and as part of supporting the G20, India's presidency in G20, and the Stay Safe online campaign of the IACA, it is a great privilege to have this book released today on this very important day. At the outset, I'd like to thank, Justice Lokur also, who has written the foreword. He's been so gracious enough to write the foreword and send a special message. Lieutenant General Pant put a special message for this book. The ISCA team, Mr. Murthy, Jagdish ji, Tulika ji, who's going to be releasing this book. I'm very grateful that you're spending time on this important occasion with us to release this very important book. And the entire team of CDAC, it is important to thank them at the outset, because without this congregated initiative, this important milestone would not be achieved. So I also want to thank Mr. Hassan, who's made the AI-based images, in this book, and has been a contributor to the artwork which has been presented. It's also important to thank the other core speakers, Lataji and Yatan Balharaji, who's going to be speaking on the mental well-being of women and who are being actually targeted by cyber criminals. So on that note, I'd like to begin by stating that the fact that cyber crimes, why we are talking about cyber crimes today, obviously is because a lot of vulnerable sections of the public are being targeted and tracked by cyber criminals. There is a great rise, I would say, surge of cyber crimes, particularly against women and children and senior citizens. In this whole span of 2 decades, we've seen a great rise of the same. And therefore the need of public safety and cyber security. And there's an excellent work which is being done by NCRT with the CDAC. And I also want to thank NCRT team, which does a lot of support on cyber awareness, and I'm part of the whole campaigns there as well. It's it's something that we are in a time and age that a lot of women, particularly, use IT and communications for work, for entertainment. And it is important to understand that, when they're doing that and when they're engaging on social media, for instance, there's a lot of social networking threats. And that's the reason when I said we very clearly, at times share a lot of personal information online. And that's what was being discussed in the earlier presentation, that the kind of crimes which have percolated the cyberspace, including stalking, including bullying, identity theft. There's a lot of fake news. There's a lot of, intimidation, sexting, obscene content. And to curb all that, we do have law in the country. So when we talk about IT Act, for instance, the IT Act is, got a lot of provisions which protect and safeguard women in such situations. There are punishments up to 3 years, 5 years or more. Even in IPC provisions, we see hacking is being, prescribed as a crime. Putting or publishing or browsing of information which is child pornography is a crime. Similarly, any kind of intimidation or extortion, sextortion rackets, we've actually dealt with those kind of cases. So I can say with confidence that we do have law in the country, although there's always work in progress. And thankfully, with MeitY, we've done a lot of work on strengthening the cyber law in the country. So there has been a consistent effort towards bringing new laws like, which put an obligation on the intermediaries, for instance, to, step up their due diligence efforts to take down the content which is not, like it is objectionable. And within 24 hours, if there's now an obscene content and you report it to the public platform, the social media platform, they are under the obligation to remove it. So that is the speed at which we are moving. Within 6-hour time window, we need to inform the certain, they take down the content there as well. So there is definitely a need to encourage reporting, and that's why this book was written, because we are to sensitize the women in India, how they are being protected in terms of law, what are their rights in terms of law. And in today's times, when we are aware of these terms, sexting and other things, what are the lacunas, how we can adopt best practices to safeguard ourselves, what are the mistakes which one shouldn't be doing, and what it is, the idea is to empower women with this. Yes.
Ma'am, we are running behind the schedule a little bit. So
surely. I put my message short. Yes. So the idea was to empower women, and I'm glad that we have taken this initiative today. And my message on this very important day through this book is that we need to sensitize women, report it on 1930, report it on cybercrime.gov.in. And with the efforts of the government that we're already working on to spread cyber awareness and the Stay Safe Online campaign and other campaigns, in this G20 presidency, we will be making leapfrogs. We will be increasing reporting, and through that, the law enforcement will be able to curb and combat cybercrime. That is the message that I'd like to give. And for all the women, we want more women in AI. We want more women to come forward in technology, because that is the future. So metaverse, or be it AI, we can leverage it to, I would say produce more returns in terms of efficiencies in any business. And it will also protect us. Things like encryption or facial recognition technology will not only help curb cybercrime, but actually it can also be used to combat cybercrime better. So we need to invite more women into technology and contribute better. And with this, I just want to thank the CDAC team, the ISCA, MeitY, and the entire panel, distinguished panel here today with us to, release this book. And my special thanks to Tulika ji also, and Jagdish ji, Murthy ji, for having, this occasion to celebrate the release of this book. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We shall now proceed with the book launch. I now take the privilege of inviting Madam Tulika Pandey, Scientist G, Cybersecurity Division, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Madam Tulika Pandey has over 30 years of experience with MeitY, and her special area of interest is in human-centric approach to internet technologies and cybersecurity. May I request you, ma'am, to kindly launch the book on women's right against cybercrime and also address the participants on the occasion?
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I somehow seem to have a problem with my camera, but then let's just proceed because we're already way ahead of the time schedule. The message that is being attempted to be put across to all of you, my fellow women, girls, scientists, engineers, doctors, even housewives. If you have joined, we are glad that you're here. If you're a teacher, we are glad you're here. If you have found time from your home activities today on the day of occasion of Holi to spend a few minutes with us, we are really glad that we have been able to get your attention. Now, what is really important for us to understand from the two things that we've heard, two talks that we've heard, one from Dr. Lata and the other from Dr. Said, is both of them trying to put across certain terminologies, certain ways by way of which cyber space has now entered homes. You all, entered and broken the bastions of all the four spaces of earth, air, and what's now important, and land, and what's now important is for you women to also enter the cyberspace. You have to understand the impact of cyberspace in the lives of your children, of your family, and yourselves. It's very important that you now start exploring this new domain called the cyberspace. Understand that it has entered your personal space today, the space inside your home. And the technology is uh, is so ubiquitous that many times you would not realize that your refrigerator, your even later maybe your furniture, every item in your house can start to be communicating and sending information across through channels to the people who have offered to serve you, but also to those who intend to now make use of this information for their misdeeds that they would like to do. And therefore the every time when a technology is developed for bringing in an ease of life for citizens, it is also misused by the miscreants to be earning quickly, making quick bucks, or to when cause harm. So what is very important for you to understand is, while every other crime on the land, air, and space was had some barriers, the cyberspace is actually having no barriers. You will not, and no barriers implies a crime could be done in India within your home by somebody sitting as far away as Sweden, as London. And therefore, for the law enforcement agencies to be able to help you, it becomes very pertinent that you are aware. You are very aware as to how you are becoming, how you're using the digital medium. So it is very important for every woman to understand that if a child is playing with a mobile and is playing a game and is moving around the house as the game requires, that game is actually being used by a perpetrator to learn about your house, to know every latitude and longitude. And if the video game is on, then he's also watching your entire house. And as was mentioned by Dr. Lata, these are the ways by which unknowingly you are becoming a victim to a crime which your child has been playing. So it's very important that the women of the house is aware of how the cyber space, the digital technologies may also end up causing harm to the family, economic harm, and as Dr. Lata has expounded in her talk about how women and girls and even young boys are getting lured into sharing their personal pictures, videos, audios, and also their personal details, which are then being misused to, you know, put them at harm. Where is it? Why is it important that we want women in this space? It is because we have realized that when the women comes in, she brings in a dimension of a holistic approach to deployment of technology and the use of technology at length. And we are missing more and more women in this area of internet technology, the cyber technology. And therefore, it was an effort by MeitY, and I see the Information Security Education Awareness Program. And I would like to also express special thanks to the CDAC Hyderabad team, who has been making all-out effort to not just train professionals on cybersecurity, but is also going all out to bring out content for all of you at every level in every language to be able to access and understand. They are also happy to organize quick, awareness campaigns if you so desire. And so, women, you need to now get up. You need to now understand that you are to be aware and you are to now start contributing to the world of cyber technology. You need to now understand that to harness the cyber world, we need your participation. We need participation of every member from the society. Every citizen today needs to be fully aware that they have a certain liability, a certain responsibility of being a responsible digital citizen. Few lines before I go towards what Dr. Said has brought in her book. The few important things that you need to notice. Okay, you need to understand the technology, the tools that are the digital tools that are there in your house. So when if the child is using a laptop, you should understand that the government has brought out certain controls that need to be put in for the child not to get abused or not to venture into sites that they are not supposed to go to. You need to become yourself. You have to make yourself aware of what are those controls, and how do I check my child's activities on the cyberspace. So you need to understand how to get into the history of web browsing, how to look at the content that is being shared, whether there are any logs that you can look into and understand what a child is doing. So you really need to now start also playing with these digital tools that have entered your house. You need to make yourself fully aware of how the mobile phone can also can be controlled by you. You have to be the master of your mobile phone. You have to be the master of the laptop. You have to be the master of the smart devices that you have brought in to your homes. All of you today maybe are using devices similar to Alexa and other such devices. You should really understand that these devices are all transmitting data, and these data is being transmitted not only to the people whom they are supposed to go to, but these data can be sniffed and can be misused to create a complete map of your activities, when you leave, when you come back, what are the few timings that you are not available at home. That was also covered by Dr. Lata in her talk. So these things, her intent was to somehow put across to you the various scenarios that may occur due to a slight negligence from our end. You need to become aware of that. That's one. The what Dr. Seth has brought in is for you to understand that the government has brought in all the appropriate regulations and legal, uh, rules to help you all to approach the law enforcement agency to help you if, God forbid, there is a certain incident that has happened with you or your loved ones. Government is all out, is very aware of the porosity of this cyberspace, the internet technology, and therefore has created a full mechanism. While you're all aware of the 1930 or the cybercrime.gov.in, you need to be very, very, open, and you should approach the law enforcement agency at the first minute of an incident of either cyber abuse or theft during your financial transactions happen. Do not delay. Do not think that you may not have all the evidences that they will seek, all the questions that they may have. You're not aware, because we understand that this technology, where a click of a button can take you to places many a times, have also unintentionally been done. Your child may have clicked a button and may have, ordered purchase of a 2 crore car which you are not aware of. These things are happening. We are aware, and the law and the government and the law enforcement agencies are fully aware and are all fully prepared to help you at the first information report that you give, either online, or you're able to approach these cyber cells that every state government today has specially put forth to help, especially for cyber crimes or cyber related crimes. So you'll be happy that we have all these mechanisms in place, and you also are now uh, requested to understand this technology and come forth with your ideas. We will need more people like Dr. Lata, Dr. Seth, and many of our others who have come forward with their, commitment to help the government, the citizens, through whatever experiences, knowledge that they have. Many of you may have, with your, in spite of your professional degrees, would have chosen to make your homes. But this is a technology which helps you to contribute professionally, even from your home. So please come forth, join us, submit your ideas, talk to us, keep in touch with the CDAC team. They'll be happy to listen to you. They have a forum where when you write or when you would like to interact with them, they would respond to you. And we need your ideas, your participation to make the cyberspace cleaner, more beautiful, and more healthy, and a space where we can all enjoy connecting without fear, connecting with trust, and we need you all on board. And now I will request the team to tell me as to how we launch Dr. Seth's book.
You just say a launch, ma'am, so that we will play the video from
Can
you.
we have the okay? You'll play the book.
Yes, ma'am. I will
Oh,
play the video from you.
so
And
I hereby congratulate Dr. Seth for bringing in such a useful book that can be that is very easy to read and to understand the various the various sections, the various ways by way of which you can you can be assured that you can have a safe and secure and a trusted internet experience in the future. So I hereby
Thank you so much.
declare open the book. Congratulations.
Thank you, Tulika ji. I think it's a great honor and a privilege for us to, for me to, get this book launched through you. It's indeed a big honor. with MIT, CDAC, ISEA, all collaborating to launch this big initiative of Stay Safe Online campaign.
This is a very well written, very well documented, simple to read book. My dear fellow women and others who have joined in, please go through it. And Dr. Seth is so well versed that she understands the problem from the ground realities, and that is how she has presented to you a way by which you can approach the law enforcement agency for any problems that you face in the future. My congratulations to Dr. Seth, and my special thanks
Thank you.
the Dr. Murthy from Information Security Education Awareness Program of MIT. He's really keeping the flag very high. I'm glad we have someone like him to lead that initiative, and he has really contacted, connected, and created a space for people to approach him. And Dr. Seth, we are happy at MIT that we have in you a partner who has committed not just to women empowerment and women's security, but to cybersecurity as a whole. So once again, congratulating you and thanking my team at CDAC Hyderabad wholeheartedly for this initiative. And a happy Holi to everyone.
Yes, happy Holi to everyone, and thank you so much, Tulika ji, Murthy ji, for having this initiative launched on this very special day. And happy Women's Day to each one of us here, and happy Holi to all. And thank you for being this part of this event, indeed.
Thank you, madam. It is my pleasure to extend my warmest gratitude to all of you, and especially Tulika madam, where she is the one of the initial architect of Information Security Education and Awareness Program, wherein right from 2003, 4, 5 years, which we worked with her, where we started this program. Now it is moving to third phase. The all support she is giving, and now she is one of the key architect in forming various product solutions which is required for nation. Thank you, Tulika madam, for your inaugurating of releasing of this book, and giving a kind of overview on that, what is happening at this moment and what to do next for all participants. And also, so madam, I would like to thank Karnika Seth for the authoring this book. Because of this is one of the significant milestone that we have achieved together, and we are very much proud to have been a part of this momentous occasion. Firstly, I would like to express my sincere thanks to you for writing this book and sharing the knowledge and expertise in terms of various cybersecurity issues, and not only the issues, the way we take forward, the way forward with the legal implication, legal things where the woman can take it and for further. So definitely, madam, your book will be undoubtedly help raise not only awareness, but a kind of momentum for the women to take the various things, various types of cyber crimes, how it happens, that generally the women face, and will serve as a valuable resource in promoting a safer and more secure digital space for women. I would also thank all the CDAC team for their efforts, and especially ISEA team in bringing this book to fruity, and definitely your commitment to publishing such kind of highly quality literature that addresses the various critical issues is commendable. So I also thank each and every participant who are attending this session, and also we will share this book through either in the online copy, and also we are trying to print some copies, which we definitely will try to share it. So I'm giving back to Simi for and inviting Ethin Balhara for the talk of digital addiction, which is also very important aspect along with
Thank you, sir.
Understanding of the security issues.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. That was Shri CHAS Murthy, Senior Director, CDAC Hyderabad, and National Coordinator of Information Security Education Awareness, ISEA Project Phase 2, who has thanked all the members who are present and who had addressed the participants. Moving on with the session, I now would take the privilege of introducing our expert speaker, Dr. Yatan Pal Singh Balhara. Dr. Yatan Pal Singh Balhara is currently serving as Additional Professor of Psychiatry at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, India. At AIIMS, he is the faculty in charge of the Behavioral Addictions Clinic. Dr. Balhara consults to World Health Organization and UNODC and is Global Master Trainer on Drug Demand Reduction for the Colombo Plan and UNODC. Dr. Balhara is a coordinator of Behavior, the regional resource hub on behavioral addictions. He is a member of WHO expert group on gaming disorder. May I request you, sir, to kindly deliver the session on digital addiction?
Okay, thank you for those kind words of introduction, and a very warm good afternoon to all of you. I thank the organizers for this opportunity to share my ideas or thoughts on this particular topic, and more importantly, for them to include this topic in this session. We all, and many people around us that we know of, we visit digital space, and at least I personally think that besides the safety, it's also important that we look at the health related aspects of being into digital space. I think that I am left with only 10 minutes or so, so I'll try to go through my slides a bit quickly quicker than what I anticipated.
You can take a few more minutes. That's not an issue,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But in case there are any questions or anything that I don't talk about in details, as much detail as you would like me to, please do write to me. I'll share my email ID on the last slide. So in this particular presentation, I intend to focus on these 4 themes. I'll begin by kind of introducing to you what digital addiction means as a concept. Then I'll move on to what is the risk, why do we need to know about this condition, how can we identify a problematic use at our own level, and of course, what can we do as an individual if we think we or people, somebody who we know probably has something similar to digital addiction. So I'll begin by briefly talking about this concept of digital addiction because it's a relatively new concept, although I won't say that it's very recent. It has been there with us for the last couple of decades, but yes, we have been talking more and more about this over the course of last few years. Now, traditionally, when we think of addiction, we always kind of think of addiction to alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. And that is how we connect this word addiction to the problematic pattern. And I think that we all would be familiar with what that addiction means. It means that a person is kind of a dependent on a kind of a chemical substance. They have a craving to use that substance again and again. They may not be able to regulate its use to the extent that it becomes detrimental to their health and well-being. And despite of that, they are not able to stop using what they are using. So that is something that we have traditionally associated the term addiction with. But over the years, what has been seen is that addictions can be categorized into 2 broader categories. The first one being the chemical related addictions or the psychoactive substance related addictions, the addictions that I just talked about a couple of seconds back. And then there are certain addictions where there is no chemical. Our brain is not getting exposed to any drug, so to say, but still we end up having a pattern of behaviors which is very similar to those addictions. And these addictions are called as non-substance related addictions. In fact, if you look at one of the simplest definitions of how to define these addictions, this is one that I have put here for you. So these are syndromes which are similar to addictions to psychoactive substances or the drugs, including tobacco and alcohol. But here the focus is a particular behavior and doesn't involve use of any chemicals. So this definition kind of tells us that these addictions are similar to addictions to other substances, there is a significant overlap in terms of what we observe clinically, but also in terms of like the research findings. For example, what changes in our brain, the kind of cognition or the thought process these people have, including family history, genetics. So there is a significant overlap, and that's why these are called as non-substance addictions. A much more popular term is behavioral addiction, since there is a particular behavior that is in focus. These are also called as process addictions or non-substance addictions. So if you think of digital addiction, it falls somewhere on this list. There are many non-substance addictions, but for the purpose of this presentation, I'll focus only on digital addiction, which is a type of a behavioral addiction where we engage in a particular behavior to the extent that it becomes detrimental to our own well-being. So that is what we mean or understand by the term digital addiction. Now, typically, if you look at digital addiction, it's not that we get addicted to each and every technology that is digital in nature. Usually, it is used in context of people using a smartphone, a laptop computer, or a desktop or a tablet computer. So that's the usual or the most common sense in which this term is used. But if I expand the horizon slightly and make it slightly easier for all of us to understand this, it probably is reflecting use of a screen. Basically, the digital technology is being accessed through a screen, which can serve multiple purposes. Maybe you can watch videos over that screen, play a game and watch that gameplay over the screen, use a social media through the screen, may involve even in gambling activities through the screen. So the use of screen is one important element. And also most of these activities, they involve use of internet as well. So it's primarily a combination of accessing an activity that is mainly driven using internet and through the help of a screen. That is what digital addiction simply means. Now, why do we need to talk about it? Why is it important for us to know about it? It's important to know about this particular condition for multiple reasons. Now, typically, when we think of the word addiction, we think that, okay, it's a medical disease and it may be something to do with the health. Of course, it has a lot to do with the health, both the physical as well as the mental health. But the implications go beyond health. They impact academics or the occupation of people who have these problems. It leads to interpersonal issues, financial issues, and at times even legal issues. So I'll quickly go through a couple of examples of all these kind of problems that can be there because of addictions related to digital space. I won't be reviewing everything, but just to give you a glimpse of what kind of issues can come up. So in terms of physical health, the problems can be for three different reasons. One is you are using that device excessively, or it could be because you are using it in an improper way, and some of the problems happen because of that. And the third reason is that since you are excessively using a digital device, you are limiting other activities that you would have done otherwise, and that is contributing to the adverse consequences for our physical health. People who use digital devices excessively, they can end up having pains in their joints of the upper limb, especially the thumb as well as the wrist. There is a condition called carpal tunnel syndrome where you experience pain in your wrist because of poor ergonomics or excessive use of these devices. Since the posture may not be correct, there may be pain in neck, pain in back. People who look at screens, some of them, if they look at screens for prolonged periods of time, they can experience headaches of different kinds. There can be problems with the eyes. There is a particular syndrome called computer vision syndrome, where people develop dryness of eyes, itchiness, redness, blurring of vision, along with the pain in the neck, pain in the back, and even muscle fatigue. There can be problems with regards to the health of our ears, especially if you are using headphones and you listen to the voices at a very loud volume. It can cause damage to our hearing capacity. This damage can be transient or it can be long-lasting. It can interfere with the sleep-wake cycle. People may sleep later than the usual. They may get up later. They may even reverse the sleep-wake cycle where they are kind of sleeping during the day, waking up at the night. So those kind of disturbances can be there. People who tend to engage excessively with the digital space, they might have altered eating habits because they don't pay attention to what they're eating. They may eat excessive amount of junk foods, and this coupled with reduced physical activity can lead to excessive weight gain and different kind of problems that can happen because of that. So there can be different kind of physical health issues if we are excessively engaged with digital space. Similar to physical health, there can be problems with the mental health. And again, there can be two main categories. One is about mental well-being and the second is about the safety. I won't go into the safety part because the previous speaker has already talked at length about the cyberbullying, cyber stalking, and cyber grooming. But what I want to highlight is that while these are legal and safety related issues, the people who are victims of these acts, they do experience adverse mental health consequences as well. They go through the experiences of depression, anxiety, at time even what is called as post-traumatic stress disorder. So once you have been a victim of such a crime, you might find it difficult to cope up with these situations mentally, and you may need help for that. Also, many digital platforms, they offer content which includes excessive violence and aggression. And if as a child or an adolescent, you are exposed to these content, it may increase the threshold for you to react against violence, and it kind of normalizes the violence or aggression that we see in the digital space. So that is another adverse mental health impact that can follow excessive use of digital space, particularly if it is not age appropriate. When coming on to the excessive and problematic use, which typically means that you are being in digital space, it could be for different reasons, playing a game, using social media, doing online gambling activities, where you lose control. You're not able to regulate your behavior. You want to play for an hour, but you end up playing for 7 or 8 hours. You engage with digital space so much that you neglect your alternate activities. And despite of knowing that it's impacting you negatively, you are not able to regulate it. And that's when that addiction has kind of set in. Now, just to give you a glimpse of how significant this problem is, recently World Health Organization has identified gaming disorder as a diagnosable medical condition. So there are people who play game in a pattern which leads to adverse consequences, and that is diagnosable as a medical condition, and there are treatment services available for that. Especially among students, there can be academic problems, lack of interest in studies, poor concentration, being absent from the classes because they could not wake up in the morning, poor grades, and even failure in exams. Interpersonal problems are very frequent because you are spending too much time with the digital device, you are neglecting your relations in real world, and that can lead to problems with the people around you. There can be financial problems because you are spending money, maybe purchasing something, maybe purchasing something during you are engaging in that act, or at times even gambling, because there are many gambling activities which are being promoted as gaming activities. So there can be financial issues there. So basically, there are multiple set of problems that can happen, and that's why all of us who visit digital space, we need to be aware of these issues so that we can be mindful and we can take more informed decisions. Now, there is a very simple formula. We all have fixed number of hours during the day, and the more time we spend while being in digital world, the time that remains available to us to do other activities, be it sleep, eating, taking personal care, studying, work, interacting with people around us, the time available for all those activities starts to go down. So there is no cutoff where I can tell you that, okay, less than this is okay and more than that becomes a problem. But please keep this in your mind that the more you are in digital world, the less you are in the physical world, and something is going to compromise. So something in your life which is important to you is going to get affected because of your presence in the digital world. So please be cognizant of this fact. Now, it's easy to detect problematic use. There are some warning signs. The first one is, of course, amount of time we spend. Again, there is no cutoff, but certain things, for example, if you are spending time in a digital space when you should not be, maybe at odd hours, late in the night or very early in the morning, or when you are supposed to do something else, that is an indicator that probably there is some problem that you are going through. The motives of use, why you are engaging with the digital space. Is it for recreation? Is it for information? Or is it simply to seek validation of people around you? That also determines whether there is a problem or not. Expectation from the digital space. For example, somebody posting on social media with an aim to let people know what you are thinking is different from posting something on social media with an aim to get likes and shares. So the expectation, the frame of mind with which you post on social media, that again is detrimental in defining whether you have a problematic pattern of use or not. Substitution, using digital space as a substitute for the real world or the physical world is again a very big indicator that now you are moving too much into the digital space. Earlier, you used to spend time with your friends, hanging out with them, but now you're spending time with them online playing a game. So you are substituting and there might be something going wrong there. So that may be a red flag sign. Change in interaction pattern, people around you, your parents, spouse, children, earlier you used to spend time with them, but now you're finding it harder to find time to be with them and they're complaining to you about that. That again may be an indicator. And finally, if somebody tries to restrict your use of digital space, and if this leads to feelings of anger, aggression, frustration, then again, it is an indicator that probably there is a problem. So these are some of the indicators that can help us understand and analyze at our own level if we are having a problematic pattern. Finally, the last 2 minutes I'll spend talking about what can we do as an individual. We can do a lot. And again, these are not very complex or complicated suggestions that I'm giving. These are very common sense kind of solutions that we all can have. Basically, we need to understand this is an interaction that we're talking about. Digital space in itself is not good or bad per se unless we interact with it. And it is this interaction that we need to focus on, which can help us make it a safer and a healthy place for us. So first is, let's ensure that our access to digital space is age appropriate. Children, adolescents, they have access to the content which is appropriate for their age. That is first thing that we need to take care of. Second is the timing of access. We need to have some system in place where we don't use digital space at odd hours at the time when we should be doing something else. The timing of use we need to be cognizant of. We should not use digital space as a substitute. If we can do something in physical world, it's better to do that rather than using a digital substitute for that. When people are growing up, we should encourage them to have a daily routine. Of course, being in digital space will be a part of that routine, but it should not be that since it's a weekend, we can ignore everything else and just do something in the digital world. We must try to follow the daily routine so that we don't break that habit of being in a regular pattern. Finally, the physical problem that we discussed earlier, a lot can be sorted if we maintain the correct ergonomics and posture. And of course, there are guidelines available which can help us sit properly, not to use screens in a wrong way so that we don't end up having the physical problems. To put it very simply, we need to find a balance. I mean, again, this is easier said than done, but if we do the basics right, if we let every activity which is important to us have a specific time of the day during our daily routine, that may be the easiest way to avoid being in digital space excessively. Because if the problem develops, for example, if the addiction sets in, then it's not that you alone will be able to take care of it. You will need a formal help, and that help exists. For example, we have been conducting different awareness programs. We have created some online courses and modules, and also we have developed some interventions for some of these problems. And if you want to know more, you can visit our website and get better understanding into this. Just to sum it up, digital space is a great invention. It is helpful for most of us in many ways. It may even become mandatory for many of us to visit it, because otherwise we may not be able to function well, because it's the requirement of the modern day and living. But let's ensure that we are safe as well as healthy while we are visiting the digital spaces. I'll end with that. And once again, I thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for briefing us so clearly about the various digital addiction related issues, and also the measures and the means to counter them. Thank you once again. Proceeding on, I now request Sri Jagdish Babu, Project Manager ISEA Project, CDAC Hyderabad, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Before we move on to the closing remarks, and I request all the participants, if you have any questions, kindly keep the questions in the chat area, so that our expert panel, Dr. Karnika Seth and Yatin Balhara sir and Chasmurthy sir, is going to address, or who is going to give some kind of suggestions or support to come out of those issues. So I request to participants, if you have any questions, kindly keep it in the chat area before we conclude the session, so that we will take it up some of the questions. So before we move on to the questions, I request Karnika ma'am say a few words on the book, as well as your suggestions how to be on digital space.
Okay, thank you very much for this interaction. I think today it's a Women's Day, and I'm so thankful to all the women, or in fact everyone who's joined us in this celebration today. It's important to stay safe, and that's the reason of supporting this campaign wholeheartedly. We are celebrating G20 leadership in India, and ISEA's great initiative. And this book is all about cyber safety and cyber crimes, and how we can combat cyber crimes effectively. Among the best practices, we've heard lots of interesting discussions. Having panelists, Dr. Lata, Dr. Yatan also talk about it, and myself also briefly discuss this issue. But in a nutshell, I just want to have some brief pointers on how we can maintain cyber safety. So number one is this just 5 pointers. When we are downloading any particular, like an app from the app stores, we have to be very careful of what permissions we are giving, and what kind of, access we are giving on our phones or our gadgets. It's important to restrict the permissions which are not required for the functionality of the app. Number 2 is that they need to maintain, you need to maintain a good antivirus and an anti-spyware on your phone, because these days phone or laptops that we use, very easily phishing attacks are being targeted on women, and in general also. And it's important to understand that we can actually track, any kind of phishing attempts, whether it's an email attachment or on WhatsApp or other social media. Be very mindful of what applications you're using, and have a good security mechanism there. Third is to have updated OS, because a lot of these attacks which are happening, including ransomware or other attacks of malware, are happening because our OS is not updated. So that is important as well. And number 4, maintain your backup as well. It's important to put the backups in order, because the moment in case your data security is compromised or a data is attacked, you have a backup to restore. And number 5 is that whenever we talk about cyber security, it's ultimately social engineering attacks which are creating a havoc in the society. So it's important to have your what information you're putting out on the world, onto the cyberspace, one is careful of that, because if it has a positive footprint, it's good. Otherwise, it can land you into trouble, and blocking information out or objectionable content out or personal sensitive information out is very, very difficult sometimes with, lots of anonymous proxy servers being used, VPNs being used today. So technology can be both a boon or a bane. So it's up to us how we utilize our, resources and protect ourselves and our our identity online. And ultimately, it's important to maintain caution and be diligent in, your cybersecurity initiatives and your efforts to, safeguard your information and security. So with this, I want to thank, all the panelists who've spoken today and thrown light on this issue. And this book, I think, will go a long way. The objective of writing it was this only, to sensitize everyone, including law enforcement, including judicial officers, police officers, any civil society organizations working towards welfare and safety of women. In fact, schools, education institutions, parents, teachers, and in general, every and anyone who's interested in cybersecurity and protection or cyber safety, particularly in relation to women and children. So this is going to be a helpful, handy resource. And all your questions and suggestions or queries are welcome. Please feel free to get in touch with us. We will answer them. Even if not now, you can always write to us, and we will certainly revert to you. And we look for your support. We look for your, in fact, we want to run this campaign for long, and we want that all of you should join hands with us in supporting this national mission. Thank you so much, Jagdish. Thank you so much, Murthy ji, and for the whole initiative of launching this book today, and the ISEA as a team. It's been a great pleasure, great privilege to be with all, and Tulika ji, releasing the book today. It's a great honor, and I look forward to more engagement, more such initiatives where we can contribute to the building of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And so before we conclude the session, let me wish all the women and the as participants who are attending and who's panelists and all, wishing a very happy Women's Day. And top of all those things, like, and wish you a happy Holi. Of course, like, it is a colorful Holi and it is a colorful event. At the same time, like, we have to be very careful in the cyberspace also. That is what ultimately we wanted to say to all the things. So let me thank Tulika Pandey ma'am, like, who came forward and shared her thoughts and views with all of us and inaugurating the book, especially that the handbook today which we have released, cyber crimes against women thing. And especially we also thank Dr. Karinika Seth ma'am, like, who came forward to release to launch the book as part of the G20 initiative of Stay Safe Online, in association with our ISEA MIT and SSO MIT and SSO MIT. So we thank you, ma'am, once again to come forward for coming forward and launching the needy of the book, the need book to almost all the participants at this point of time, for all of us especially. Thank you so much, ma'am. And we also thank today's panelists, Lata ma'am, as well as Yatin Balhara sir, for their wonderful and excellent session. They have talked about extremes, like, one is like what is happening in the cyber space, and second session, Yatin sir is spoken very well, like, how do we safeguard ourselves from these digital addiction, and how do we safeguard ourselves as well as our family from all these kind of aspects. And top of all those things, like, let me thank CHAS Murthy sir, like, who is a senior director at CDAC Hyderabad, and he's a driving force for all of us to to perform and to lead the team, and who's a mentor to guide all those things in a proper way, the things which we are able to do it at national level with all support from mom, sir, and there are so many other institutions who are supporting this initiative. So we heartfully thank CHAS Murthy sir, who is giving a free hand to organize all these events in a fruitful manner. With his support, like, we are able to do all these things. And Director CDAC Hyderabad, Lakshmi ma'am, for her inaugural address and the theme address, as well as guiding the whole team. And last but not least, like especially my whole IACA team, start from Simi Ma'am, Indra Kirti, Sandeep, whatnot. There are so many people who are supporting, organize these things in a proper and appropriate manner. And thank Kirti for her wonderful design of the book. With her all her efforts, like we are able to bring that book in that particular shape. And especially thanks Simi Ma'am on the precious and important day for your time and facilitating this entire session in a fruitful and effective manner. So once again, thank you, Karnika Ma'am, for your wonderful initiation and support and developing the book and sharing with all the audience, which is very very emerging.
I hope all will benefit, all will be empowered with it, and
Exactly.
all the attendees today, all the participants, thank you so much for sparing time to be with us today. A very, very happy Women's Day to all and a happy Holi.
All right. So especially I thank all the participants like sirs and madams, like all senior sirs, madams who participated in the session out of their personal space. And we thank all of you for all the participants who came forward and participated and who made this session live throughout the 2.5 hour session. So I thank all of you once again, for the organizing this session and participation by the our beloved participants. Thank you so much, and thank you, Ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. With this, we have come to the end of the session. I thank everyone who has supported in successful conduction of this event. And thank you once again, everyone. Thank you, ma'am, and wish you a very happy Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Jai
Thank
Hind,
you, Ma'am. Thank you. So, sir, ma'am, like we thank you once again to all of you, and you may leave the platform and we can conclude the session. Thank you so much.